Okay, here's a movie on how to build a ring. First thing I'm going to do is load the ring. I've got 3 pictures of the ring. I'm going to load them in the viewport so I can work right on the picture. So to do that, I'm going to go to View and go to Picture Frame. Then I'll slide down to where those pictures are. I'll start with the through finger view right here. And I'm going to place it here, and then the next click is the lower right corner, like so. And next thing I'm going to do is line this up. So I'm going to put this on this layer, work on this layer. And I'm going to line up the edge of the ring with the edge of the finger rail. And then I'm going to 2D, so I'm going to go to a transform, 2D scale. And I'm going to scale from here where it meets it, the ring meets the ring rail, then to this edge, and then I'm going to scale until I hit the edge of the ring here, like so. And that'll get us fairly close. And then I'm going to move this image over a little bit until it lines up with here, like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing coming back this way. I'm going to scale from here to the edge of the ring and then over to there. And that, depending on how straight the shot is, that'll get us to where we need to be. There we go. I'm going to move this over just a little bit this way. And I'm going to call that good to go. Alright, so there's essentially, now I did a size 7, not knowing what size the ring is. I did a ring rail USA size 7. Okay, so now we'll come back to the other viewports and we'll do the looking down viewport. So we'll go over and click on, here's the last tool, picture frame, that I used. One of them. And there's the looking down view, and so we'll place that in this viewport like so. And then this one's going to be a little harder to use because number one, it was shot. You can see less ring here than over here, so we know the ring is turned to the right a little bit, but it's close. And what I need to do is, looking at the ring, I'm going to envision where the finger hole is, like right about through here, and then on the same respect over here. Okay, here's the curve that represents my finger rail looking down on it. So what I'm going to do is move this side over here and kind of center it, and then I'm going to just envision this finger rail. Well, here, we can even do this just to give an idea. I can extrude this in both directions so it looks like a finger going through there. So we can shade that, and there's the finger. So this line right here represents that finger hole. So I'm simply going to move the picture over to where I think it's going through there, maybe a little more over, like so. And then, I'm going to get rid of this now, it's just for demo. And then I'm going to go ahead and scale this picture, 2D scale, once again, from the edge of that to where I think it's lined up over here, to the edge of that circle, right there. So now I have the same amount of material here as I do over here, basically. But my stone is not centered. Here's the culet right there. So I'm going to select this picture and say move from the center of the culet to the center of the origin, which we have a keystroke called F4. So now, not worrying about anything other than in the picture then, here's my center line here going to the culet, and then here's my center line here on the x-axis going to the culet. And now my ring is not centered, but my head is. The head of this is. And that's the head's going to be fine, and then the rest of the ring is going to follow this viewport. The other thing that I noticed is that the ring is tilted to the right just a little bit. So this, I figure this is the center of the ring right here where this gap is between the gems. So I'm going to pick this and go to rotate and rotate from F4 or the center through this gap. I'm going to click there and then rotate it so that it goes straight up. Now don't worry about this line, because when I deselect and then I can draw a line straight up to show you. So from F4 straight up goes right through that gap. So there you can see that's not too bad. Maybe a little bit far on the rotate. We'll have to check it out. At this point, let's go ahead and load a diamond. So let's go gems, and here we have the gem loader, all the different shapes. Here's princess. And in looking at this ring, it looked like it was going to be about a 7mm by 7mm stone, at least the way I have it loaded to a size 7. So we'll select that and drive it on up here until it matches. And just looking at this, we've got this dark spot that goes around here, this ridge, and so I'm going to actually rotate this back just a little bit. So rotate from F4 here, and I'm just going to go over a little bit. Now this and this are the same, so that seems pretty good. And then over here in the looking down, we've got enough metal to set the corner of that gem like so. So that, and we're pretty centered on the well, because we centered the culet, so we'll call that done. And then I do have the last picture for this viewport, which is side view. So we'll place that in here, and then we're going to have to do the same thing. The beauty of this is that if you have the ring in your hand, which, you know, someone took this picture, then you can literally measure from here down to here, and then I can scale this bitmap to the grid, which is a millimeter square grid, and then do it exactly to the numbers. If this is, you know, 27.8 millimeters high, I can scale it to 27.8 and center it up, and I'm good to go. So now I'm going to envision where the finger is going through this part of the shank, how much metal there is. So I'm going to move that down a little bit, and then I just need to scale this. And this one obviously needs rotated a little bit. There we go. Kind of make that a little straighter. So there's my finger line going up the side of that ring. And we'll scale from here to the top of the diamond, and then down to my top of the diamond, like so. And once again, I'm going to let the head kind of drive what's going on here. So there's, I'm looking at the distance between this and this again, and that seems to be centered up. And where's the top of the diamond there? There we go. Alright, so that's what we have there. So in this view, you can see we have the ring this way, and then this way. So we're ready to start building. I'm going to put this over here in a job bag, which is where we hang on to stuff, so that if I freak out or my battery goes dead or whatever happens, I'll have it. Okay, first I'm going to sketch out what this looks like in the through finger view. So I've got the finger rail here, and I'm going to offset. So I'm going to go to curve and offset here, this curve, and I can hit T for through point, and then I'm interactive. So if I go straight down here, then I'm picking the outside of the finger, and let's put this on this layer. And I'm going to lock the gray layer so that if I click on the picture, I can't move it or select it or do anything weird. Okay, so now I'm going to actually scale this up just a little bit, and here's why. I'm going to scale it out to this much, and then I notice that this, a lot of times the finger rail gets smaller, or the thickness gets smaller here. So I'm going to turn on the control points and move the bottom of this up just a little so that we can be very precise with where that goes. There we go. Okay, this now comes down, has a slight turn, and then heads this way. So there's a real easy way to make this curve. It's with arc direction. And I'm going to come over here to the quad point here, and then I'm going to come up to this junction here, and then if I hold down shift, it'll make this line perfectly tangent with this line, and around it goes. So I'll click this, click on mirror, F4, and we're drawing that. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll offset this curve, so we'll come back to our offset command, which is here, and I want it to go right through this quad point here. So I'm going to go through point again, and then I'm going to snap to that quad point, and now it goes exactly off this circle, and then it's going to head on up this way. Okay, so now we've got this as well, and we'll mirror it. Although we can work on just one side and mirror it later, I'm just kind of giving you the idea of sketching the ring out. So there's what we have so far. Okay. So now, as a matter of fact, I'm going to immediately quit worrying about this side, and we're going to work over here, and when we're ready, we'll mirror it over. So this needs to be a little longer, so I'm going to use the extend command, and I'm going to extend it as an arc. And I'm going to extend that up to about there. Okay. Next we're going to draw a straight line from here down to here, like so. And then there's a handy command that'll blend between two curves called blend right here. And so I'm going to click that and blend from this curve to this curve, and it'll fill that in, making it tangent to each curve. Okay, and then I'm going to steal this curve for over here. By pressing Alt, I can move a curve, and then when I let up, it'll have been copied there. And I'm just going to edit this curve a little bit up like so. And so now I have that in place, and we're going to blend from here to here. And actually I don't like that blend. I extended this a little too far, so I'm gonna split that back a little bit. I'm just gonna move it back a little, and now I'm gonna blend again. There we go. I was a little picky there, but we want it to look good. Okay, so now these curves right here need to be joined up. So I'm going to click join, and now this curve is all one curve, and this curve is all one curve. So we're we're good to go there. So now let's look at see what we got. So now what we need to contend with is the fact that this comes up to here and then it heads on over to here, and that this assembly is actually way over here. So this will be one of the trickier parts, to get this to come over, go up this way, and then come back down. Certainly doable though. Okay, so I was sitting there looking at that for a little bit. So I'm going to start with this square, and well, let's draw this right in place. Rather than start with the square and rotate it, I'm just going to draw a line across here, like so. And then I'm going to rely on my offset to get this set up. So here's offset, but it lives right here, first button, second row, and we'll go T for through point and go like so. And then I'm going to draw a line from corner to corner, so from here to here, like that, and then I'm going to go ahead and mirror that curve from the midpoint here, like so. So now we have that box, and we could get fancy. Let's join that. And we could round the corners to that box and make it look already polished, but I'm going to do that later, because if I round the corners, I'm going to constantly having to be trying to find this point to make the other shapes going this way and then over here, and it'll be real easy to do that to a corner, and if I round it, it's just going to make it kind of hard. Alright, so because of that, I'm just going to move this up. So up we go, and it looks like that edge needs to, and I'm going to leave this here, and it looks like that needs to go, well, we'll leave that up for the cap. We'll have a little domey cap that we put on that. So there we go. That'll work. Alright, so next I'm going to draw an arc direction that goes from this edge. Let's mirror this over to the other side. So let's go mirror from F4, which is our center point. There we go. So we'll go from here, and I'm going to turn project on. This button projects this flat. So I'm going to go from here to there, and then straight down. And then I'm going to grab this curve, turn on the control points, and I'm going to select these points and move it down to here, like so. There we go. And if we want this to be a bit different of a curve as far as this angle of attack, we can select these points here, and we can go to 1D scale from the center on over like so, and that'll relax that curve so it matches that, like so. Okay, so with this curve drawn, and you'll notice that this curve lines up with the outside of this, so it lines up here, and that face right there is going to come down and around. So now I need a curve that's going to match this line here. So I'm going to select this curve and do offset. And the offset distance is through point, and we'll go right through the middle of that one. Okay, and it matches pretty good, but what I do need it to do is match this corner exactly. So I'm going to do a point object, what's called a point object. It's just a point here. And I often do this. Let's turn off project. When I want to hit a point in a viewport that you can't see, in other words, this corner, I can't see it here flat, but I certainly can see it here, and now I know where it's at. So now I'm going to draw a line that goes from that point. Let's make this bigger. There we go. So from point to point, that is my intersect. So now if I select this curve, oh, let's see, I should have drawn that. Yeah, it's out here. That's not so good. Let's turn on project so it goes flat point. There we go. So now it's flat in this viewport. Okay, so now we'll take this curve and we'll 1D scale it from the center of the line to here to there. There we go. So now this exactly matches that face. Alright, rock on. And now we need another one that goes, turn project off from this point to this point. So we offset again. It's up here. And that distance is virtually the same right there. And it's starting to get kind of sharp, but let's see what happens. So now we go here, and we'll put this on this layer, and we're going to go from mid to, alright, something's whacked there. Turn project back on. 1D scale from mid to intersect to point. There we go. And like I said, this got a little sharp. We'll 1D scale this. And we'll move these down a little. There we go. Just kind of relax that point. As a matter of fact, here's a trick I like to do quite a bit when I have a curve that's not quite right. Let's make a circle about this big and move it down. And we'll pick these two and do a trim. So we click the scissors and we trim that away. Then we blend from here to here. And we join that up. So that just makes that curve uniform all the way down and around. Alright, so take this curve, trim that, and that. Okay, so all that work is going to pay off here in a moment. So we'll go here, and we'll move from here to that point, and then this one will move from this point to there. There we go. And then this one, now does that one match up? Yeah. There we go. Move. There we go. Alright. Let's turn off some of this business. There's our nice clean drawing. you and you explode, kaboom. And then we have a surface command called surface sweep 2. 1, 2, go from here to here. And then we'll do the same thing from here. Now this ring is, it's not hard, but there's no builder in Matrix that's going to make this complicated design here. Not that that's complicated, but anyway, let's see. And I guess what I mean is it's not going to make an object that is this specific. Let's see, does that line up there? But not there. I must not be, let's fix this. I don't think I have this point in line with this point, because I didn't draw it that way, because I just drew out there in space. So, let's go orient to, copy equals no, and what we can do is we can take this line and reorient it so that it spans from here over to there. There. Fixed. Sweep 2. If I would have done this to the numbers, I could have just mirrored it over there. Whoa. What have I done? Oh, cancel. Sweep 1, 2, go from here. Oh, I think I picked the wrong thing. There we go. So now we'll take this and mirror it from 0. There's that. And then, yeah, you know, I should have been more careful when I did this. But let's turn off the green. Let's take this one. Yeah, here's what we want to try. Let's take the green. This isn't going to work. I can feel it. But let's try it. And let's take green, and we're going to array it. Transform polar array from F4, there's 0, to 4 times. And then like that. So what that does is around the center it takes 1, 2, 3, 4 and runs it around. And I'm thinking these aren't going to match up because I'm right. Yeah. Now, part of this wouldn't matter one bit. Like we could cap this off, cap this and mill it, but that's pretty sloppy. And the reason that's sloppy is that I should have drawn a perfect square, rotated it 45 degrees, and planted it right there. And then this all would have matched up. So, since I made a mess, I'll clean it up here. I'll try to do it quickly. So, let's take and mirror this over again. So there's what happens when you're kind of not paying attention. Alright, so now we'll take this and we'll orient to And if I wasn't doing a video, I would probably stop and fix this differently, in the sense that I would probably take the time to nuke this, reproject those points, and fix it. But you get to see Orient too, and I'll probably hit pause here in a minute once. Here's the concept. There we go. So there's what we're in for. And once I do this side, then I can mirror it to the other side. It's no big deal. Oh, and I missed that one. Alright, I'm going to hit pause and fix it. Okay, so here we are back, and I'm starting to sweep this. You can see I've got these lines all lined up and pretty, and it really didn't take that long. It's just that I didn't want the video to get longer and longer and longer, and droning and more droning. Alright, so we sweep that, and then lastly we do this curve and this curve and that curve and that one. Oh yeah, there we go. So that's all just pretty. So it is a pretty fun head design, I will say. And the beauty of the program is that if I do one side on one, as long as I don't do it wrong, then it's perfect. One side matches the other exactly. And it's hard to compete with that. Alright, there we go. Turn all those the same color. Okay. So now at this point I'm going to turn some stuff back on, and I'll place it in over this one. So I'll put that in a job bag, because I don't feel like doing that again. Okay. So now let's take a look at what else we got. So from the side, this shank just comes up and meets that. So that's really not that big a deal. In looking at it now, I'm gonna fix my outside lines, because this is nice and rounded, and it really doesn't need to be, now that I really see this, because it needs to match up the surface exactly. So let's do this more to the numbers. And I don't really know how that all got off there, but it's because we're using a picture essentially. And so I'm going to turn on project, and let's go ahead and do our one trick we did earlier with this one. And let's turn off intersect and turn on quad. There's the true quad here, and then we'll go ortho straight up, and then quad again, and mid is good, and ortho straight up. And there we go. So now that matches exactly. And oh, I know what else needs to happen too. I'm figuring this out. You know, one of the things I do as I work on something is you start to kind of dissect it, and you kind of have to change things as you go along a little bit here and there. And that's kind of what's happening to me on this bad boy. But let's go over here, and we'll turn on near, And I'm going to draw near there and then shift straight over to intersect. So that's due straight across there. And having seen that, I'm going to go up a little bit more there. Alright, so this line right here is the line that represents this straight across here. And it needs to move over here. Okay, so I went ahead and redrew this right there. So it's the same line, it's just over here where it ought to be. So I'm going to nuke this one. Okay, so that line represents this edge of the surface right there. Okay, then we know that it needs to come down on this angle. So let's go ahead and we want a face for this side of the ring where these stones are. So we go here and we start on the end of this one and we come over here, and I'm looking not only here for this angle and this viewport, but I'm also looking over here. And that looks good to me right there. So that is that. And let's turn this off. Now, what does that do for me? I'll tell you what it does. It changes this line out here. So let's turn off this again. So this line, where this goes up to, has to change. These two do. So we'll turn on project again, and let's work on green. And so we will go arc direction. Let's make this bigger. From quad to that spot right there. And we'll start back down here again, quad up to here. There we go. Now looking at that, let's see. Okay, so here's this ready to go, and so I've got this curve, and so let's take and we'll take this curve and mirror that to the other side. And I'm going to come back and offset this again later, so let's clean this up again. This curve, and this curve. And we'll trim. There we go. Join that. And here we go. Let's switch to a new layer. Surface sweep 1 this time. This curve goes from this curve to this curve. And that goes around straight. And then we'll take this one and mirror it to the other side. And we'll go surface sweep 1. The edge of this rail or surface comes here to here. Let's see how that works for us. Yep. And make sure that, yep, there's the finger rail, and it doesn't go inside there. I didn't think it would. Mirror this to the other side. And you know, it's kind of fun is if you wanted this to be kind of comfort fit, we could do a command called blend right here. This is surface blend. And we can go from there to there, and then we can adjust this way down. Way more than that, actually. Let's go 0.125. 125. Oops. There we go. And that just kind of puts a nice rounded edge on that. So there we go. And now we need to get some gems on here. And that is not hard. I need to do this bridge in here too. We'll do that in a sec. Boy, it looks like there's a little one there and then bigger ones there, but we'll figure that out. Alright, so there's that look there. At this point, I'm going to extract. Let's go red. And these lines are called ISO curves, and I can extract an ISO curve. So we go here, select surface, and then we go right to the midpoint of that. Right there. So there's a line right on that surface. And let's see what... Alright, we're coming down to there. So I'm going to draw a line just so I can see where I'm heading to. And so it looks like the last gem goes right about through there. Alright. There we go. So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take the time to take this curve and split it. No, let's trim it. Let's trim that. Apparent intersections equals yes, because these apparently intersect even though they don't. There we go. Alright. So that's going to come right up to there. This curve. Gems on a curve. Actually, we have a function in here besides the button. If you pick a curve and hit F6 on the keyboard, it brings up suggested tools that will work on this. For instance, we have the mill grain, where I can set the mill grain on this, and it just spacing, size, and so on. Or, in this case, we want gems on a curve. Culet direction of the gem is to an object. That object is that one. And then size-wise, 1.2s. There we go. Spacing. However close we want those to be. There's 1.2s, and then we can also come back and go F6. And then MSR, which is move, scale, rotate. And then I can take this yellow line and push those in. In the gem on curve, I can also do this. If I edit the gems on curve, they come back to where they were. And I can say gem tops, which really should be a table. So we can set that down in there very quickly and easily. So there's how that's being affected by the surface. So if that's not quite what you want, again, we can go F6 MSR and move this out ever so slightly wherever we want that to be. Okay. The easiest way to handle this too, F6, is to do our channel builder. Okay, we have different options for this. We can run the command line up here, or we can come over here and change the way this works. Cap A is square, cap B is square, and we can drive this wherever we need to. This is the cap extension. I'm going to keep it on this surface. Alright, and then how wide this is right here. So there's that. And then how deep the channel is. There we go. And we can make this out whatever we want there. And then this is the offset of the whole thing. Like so. And we can change the profile of this channel. So if we want kind of more of a V channel like this one, we can certainly do that, and that'll give us a better channel to polish. Like so. There we go. So having done that, I'll hit enter. And if we pick this, we have an operation called a Boolean, and that's a cutter. So this shape here gets Boolean cut by this orange one. Enter. And it makes the cut. So if we turn off the gems, you can see we have this seat for what we want there. And there's my gems back. And now we'll pick this and go F6 again, and notice on gems we have all these things we can do. I'm looking for prongs. And so there's our preview of the prongs, and those are certainly plenty large. I'm going to make those 0.5 millimeter. And here's the height down. And then I'm going to change this purple is what we call a nudge, and it nudges the prong into the stone. And you can set this however you want. I'm going to set it for the render. But if it was a production model, we can change it however we need to. So I'm going to hit enter, and there's that. And these end ones are always a little bit tricky. And so I'm going to select this and say ungroup, which is a utility right here. So we ungroup those, and there's a function under setting, which is right prong editor. We can pick this prong. Ooh, let's ungroup that again. Okay, so now we can put that in this box, and then we get all separate controls for that box. I can change the nudge. I can change the location by rotating this out a little ways. Enter. Let's put this one in there. There's the nudge again. The rotation, that'll get that away from that wall so we can actually push that prong. So there's how that works. There we go. All right.